Usually I store every different versions of the same article in different folders. So now we have the last folder that is the version that's been approved. That is a draft version. So a draft version in my convention, it's nothing universal, is the version that I sent around where there's like everything in the same document. So title, affiliations, authors, abstracts, all the text. And then references and all the figures and tables, okay? So you cannot submit it like this, except for some journals. I wrote a cover letter. Ben is gonna be corresponding author for this, so we're gonna prepare all submission, upload everything, and then the moment I click that I'm not the corresponding author, I'm gonna be kicked out of it. So he has to finalize it. I already had the cover letter approved, so I wrote it in his name, but he revised it, and so I have a final version in PDF. So the final folder, I only want files that I'm gonna submit, so it's easier to cross-check that I'm submitting everything. So one thing that I did is I have PDF versions of the figures. As I mentioned to you, I always keep the figures in PDF as long as possible. I didn't. So let's just say figure one, which is the one with the flow chart. So real quick, what we do is we delete the other ones, and you want to crop it so there's no like wasted white space around it. Yes. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other ones. Okay. And these are the supplemental figures. Okay. So one thing that we can do immediately is to use GIMP to convert the PDFs into high resolution TIFFs. Line and text like this, you're gonna aim for 1200 DPIs. Same here. Figures that are more rich like this, maybe 600 or 300. 300 is a bare minimum. These again, 1200 should be fine. You want to go as high as possible without having them being too heavy for the upload, which is usually like something on underneath 10 megabytes or something like that. Always keep in mind that if you have only MRIs, it doesn't matter if you do 1200 or 300 because the limiting factor of the resolution is the MRI voxel size. Okay, so if you ever have to do this step, you can download GIMP. It's open access, it's free. You drag and drop. You can also like modify figures, but I never learned to do that. I do it in PowerPoint. When you drag and drop a PDF, it asks you how many DPIs you want me to convert it to. So we say for line graphs, we try 1200 and see how it works out. So you drag and drop and you set the resolution, you can export it, and you have to select TIFF, and you also want to select this LZW compression, because otherwise it's going to be too heavy. So now that it's exported, it exported it in the same folder. You can, in Mac, it's pretty easy. I'm not sure about Windows, but you can check here that the size is reasonable and that the resolution is indeed 1200 by 1200. So this is one figure that is already ready for submission. So I drag and drop it in the submission folder. It helps me being more aware of what I have to submit and what is just a temporary step. Straight can go here. Okay. For now, we don't need GIMP anymore. The supplements, I'm just gonna create a composed compose supplement file. We have to break down this draft into all of the different files that we have to create. So one way is to just clone this. So one is going to be, since when I say draft, I remember it's just a name that reminds myself that it's the draft version. So we're gonna have a main text that we're going to modify in a second. We're gonna have a Word file for tables and a Word file. Well, I want to keep a draft, so let's keep a draft. And then another one is going to be the title page. Depending on the journal, some certain things are gonna fall into one or the other. But anyways, typically the title page only has title and author information. And I cross-check the submission guidelines of the journal, and it's the case. So we just need, well, of course, all these things about limitations and stuff that we wrote for ourselves have to go. So we only need for the title page title, author names and affiliations, and the corresponding author information. So from here to the end of it, everything has to go. So the title page is going to look like this. Make sure you're modifying the title page and not the rest, because otherwise you're just going to lose what you're looking for. Title page done. Tables, of course, it's only going to include tables. So you can just keep the title and then say anyways, everything but the tables. We only have one table. Make sure it fits in the same page. So we have one page, the only table that we have. So we did title page and we did tables. Now, main text. So the main text should be blinded to author information. Now, some journals do not tell the reviewers the information about the author, so it has to be blinded like this, and you have to be extra careful that anything that you include here doesn't give away the identity of the institution of the authors. It's not the case of this journal, because I know for a fact that it's not going to be blinded. So they're gonna know our names. Still, I'm just gonna apply the same rule, but I guess you don't have to be as precise about that, because if something slips, it doesn't matter, because they're gonna know our identity anyways. So the main text has title, and then it starts from abstract, and then all of the parts of the article, introduction. So the main text, when we say main text, it's actually introduction, materials and methods, and results and discussion. Now, there is a bunch of things that all journals require after conclusion. So like a bunch of declarations, such as contribution statement, funding, data availability, consent of the patient, ethical improvement, financial interest. It's a bunch of like declarations that you have to include. In this case, for this journal, they want them after the main text and before the references. Some other journals will have a dedicated file for those, or maybe they want them in the title page. Doesn't matter. You just put them whatever they want them to. Since it's not in the title page, there's a lot of initials. So, but again, we don't have to be so nervous about our identity being recognizable, because it's not a double-blinded journal. It's a single-blinded journal, meaning that we don't know the identity of the reviewers, but they do know ours. So after that, the references that we already formatted again according to the journal style. Table, we don't need a table. And we do not need, of course, the figures that are included separately, but we do need the figure captions that are always left after the references. So get rid of the figures and keeping the captions. Supplementary files, of course, we don't care because we have to submit them separately. Just getting rid of the useless white space between one and the other. So we have figure captions 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we have a main text with simply just text and declarations and stuff like that. So there is no figures or tables or anything like that, and no authors information, not author information. Main text done, and then from the draft we have to also clone it for supplemental material. All of these that we created already, so title, page, tables, text, it can go to the submission folder. So the submission folder now has these 3 documents, cover letter in PDF that I already created before, and 4 of the figures. We are missing the so we have title page, main text, tables. We are missing the disclosure declarations are inside the main text for this journal, so we're only missing supplements. And we have to create. It's usually fine to do PDFs of supplements. Sometimes you have to adjust what you do depending on what the actual online portal that you have to submit to looks like. So probably I should have looked at that before. But hopefully it's fine. So I'm just gonna erase everything until supplementary files. So now we have 1, 2, 3. But these are low quality screenshots that I only included for the draft version. So I'm just gonna replace them with PDF formats. That it works great when I create them, like PDF from Word that has embedded PDF files, but I noticed that sometimes journals want Microsoft Word versions, and they create their own PDFs. And in those cases, sometimes whatever scripts and algorithm they use, it doesn't work well and creates very poor quality of the PDFs that are baked into the Word file. So supplementary figure 1 is the clinical part. So it's this figure. 2 is the location. 3 correlations. Okay. So supplements, I'm going to try have it in PDF. We'll check that the quality of the PDF within the PDF looks good. See? So it still has the property of a PDF that can interpolate the resolution. So now we should have everything because we have cover letter in PDF, main text, title page, tables, supplements, and full figures. So we should be all set. So let's see. Now it's the most tedious part of the process. Okay, so research, start submission, manuscript file instructions. Okay, we know. Okay. Okay, we did this for no reason. So it's completely different from what it should be. So it's best if your manuscript, including all text, figures, and tables, is one file. So what I'm going to do, let's just call it separate, but we don't really need this anymore. What we need to do though is something completely different from what I was expecting, which is I will keep the draft version. So I'm just gonna call it in a separate folder, submission, edit. What we still need that is not changed is a cover letter. Also, it makes no sense because in their submission guidelines, they talked about title page and everything, but apparently they don't care. So we still need a cover letter and we still need supplements as separate files. Sometimes there is no space for a cover letter, but I suggest that we never skip uploading a cover letter. If there's like additional files or something related, place it here. Now it's not a draft version anymore because we're gonna still put high resolution figures in it. So we'll call it embed, call it main. So supplements and cover letter are still separate. What they want though is that the figures and tables placed in the body of the text where they're referenced. So we have to do some moving. So now we have a title page pretty much, and then abstract. So we're gonna get rid of these limitations and the target journal, abstract, and then introduction, materials and methods. So the first figure and first table that we have are in the results. And we reference figure 1 and table 1. So it's a good idea here to have page break and place figure 1 high resolution. So you can stay with this. Figure 1 high resolution, but we have to go and fetch the corresponding caption. We can split actually. Wait. The low quality at the top, at the bottom. Okay, this looks good. You have to check that it's less than for 2 GB, I hope. Yeah, it's 11 MB. Way less. We have a separate cover letter, separate supplements. Tables and figures are inside here. So we should be fine. Something else that I'm missing? I don't think so. Main text tables, figures, and title page are all in the same file now. Manuscript. Embedded. Figures and tables don't need to upload, so there's no need. Supplemental file we will upload, and related files will upload the cover letter. So we have all three. Okay. Supplements and related files, cover letter. Collection, no, there's no collection. Sometimes there's special issues and stuff like that. If your manuscript falls under that, okay. It was trying to fill out automatically and failed. So we will copy and paste the information. So this is a little, it's different from most of the submission portals, honestly. So you just have to fill title, abstract, and those things. Cross-check that it doesn't cut off something, because sometimes there's a word cap, as we know. And for some reason, maybe spaces are, calculated a certain way. So cross-check your last sentence is the last sentence that appears there. The other thing you want to cross-check is symbols, superscripts, and stuff like that, because sometimes it messes it up, but this is looking great. Yeah, cool. It doesn't let me know. I think it doesn't just carry all indentations, I guess. Good eye. Okay. Oh, now he wants the cover letter here. Okay, so let me get rid of the cover letter here. So now we have main file and supplements. So let's go to next again. No collection, title, abstract looks good. Cover letter. Okay. Oh, sorry. This sounds a bit complicated. Okay, so so you know how usually we have uh, many institutions that we are affiliated with, For the online portal, my philosophy is the simplest the better, as they also show, right? Like I'm not gonna input all sub departments and stuff like that. And I think luckily enough, all authors are from UCLA in this case. Okay, this is a very easy scenario. Okay, funding, we have to, it's important to not only report it on the manuscript, but to manually input all of the funding source because they get linked electronically. So it's important to do that. So with a lot of patience, I have to say this is the number of the R01, for instance. So in this case, it's an IH, but yeah, so you have to match it. One here, National Institutes of Health. Yes, on there. Okay, so we have all the grants that you have to insert. Certain institution. Author's information. Okay, this is the most tedious part. Now I'm nervous that if I click him as corresponding, it's gonna kick me out. So for now, I'm gonna click myself. Sometimes, yes, sometimes. Author contribution statement. Yes, I have that already. It's already in the declarations. So the way this is done, like sometimes there's certain guidelines given. I always use the the wording that I like better. I get it. Yeah. Here's the difference between golden open access publication where you pay for, subscription publication where the subscription pays for. Okay, well, I'll explain that. I'll explain that. Compete. Yes, we have a declaration already. Not being published elsewhere. Any material from third parties? No. So we have main and supplements, and then the cover letter was separate. Title, abstract, author list. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18, right? Yes, perfect is fine. I don't want it to be permanently available though. Let's just say no, because it's not a urgent thing to publish anyways. Okay, I will not click submit. I will go back and change the corresponding. So we may get kicked out right now, but sometimes no, sometimes it lets me go further. Primary corresponding. Checked everything. Okay, done.